Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we're diving into the world of educational savings and exploring the wonderful benefits of Registered Educational Savings Plan, also known as RESP. If you're a parent or a guardian who wants to set your child up for a bright future, this is the video for you. For those who don't know me, my name is Catherine Lee. I'm an insurance broker for the past 12 years in Ontario. I do carry an LOQP license, which allows me to talk about investment vehicles. The goal of my channel is to help empower you with the knowledge about insurance or investments so that you can protect what matters most to you. So let's jump in and answer the fundamental question. What is an RESP? An RESP, simply put, is a special savings account designated to help parents and guardians to save for their child's post-secondary education. It's a very smart and strategic way to invest in your child's future while taking advantage of the tax benefits and the government grants. The main idea behind an RESP is to contribute funds over time and allowing them to grow tax-free while your child is ready to pursue higher education. One of the key advantages of an RESP is a tax advantage status. When you contribute money to an RESP, you won't have to pay taxes on the investment gains within the account. This means that the earnings have potential to grow more quickly and compared to a regular savings account. Plus, when your child's ready to access the funds for their educational purposes, they will likely be in the lower tax bracket, resulting in potentially lower tax payments. One of the most enticing aspects of an RESP is the government grants available to eligible contributors. The primary grant is the Canada Educational Savings Grant, known as CESG, which matches the portion of your contribution by minimum of 20%, providing a boost to your savings. Additionally, low-income families may qualify for the Canada Learning Bond, an additional grant that can provide even more financial support for your child's education. It is important to note that the government grants have specific eligibility criteria. There are contribution limits and deadlines to keep in mind. However, the potential for these grants to significantly enhance your RESP savings is well worth exploring. What are the RESP account types? Now, let's talk about the two main types of RESP accounts, individual plans and family plans. An individual plans help allow you to save for a specific beneficiary, typically one child. This means that all the contribution and earnings are designated for that particular child. On the other hand, a family plan allows you to include multiple beneficiaries, such as siblings. This flexibility can be great for you if you have more than one child, or if you want to allocate funds among the siblings. Look, you don't have the crystal ball of which child would need more funding. Instead of limiting yourself by saving between 2 or 3 different accounts, best to consolidate it and easier for any child to withdraw. Plus, it's easier for you to deposit money knowing that it can go between the kids. For example, I have a 4 and a 6-year-old. I purchased a family RESP because I prefer to make one deposit to one account where both of my children can have access to the RESP. Imagine the eldest not wanting to go to school. At least the youngest can withdraw from the account when they need it. There's no transferring or changes to be made. I can keep the account open for 31 years. If the eldest changed their mind years later to go to school, then we can also access the money and the grant that was designated for them. That's the flexibility for the family plan. What is the contribution limits and deadlines for RESPs? Understanding these limits and staying within them is crucial for maximizing your savings. So let's dive right in. RESP accounts have both annual and lifetime contribution limits. The annual limit is set for $2,500 per beneficiary, meaning that you can contribute up to $2,500 per year for each child you're saving for. It is important to note that there is no obligation to make an annual contribution, but by doing so, you can take advantage of the potential government grants and the tax-deferred growth within the account. In addition to the annual limit, there is a lifetime contribution for each beneficiary. Currently, the lifetime limit is set at $50,000 per beneficiary. Once you reach that maximum amount, you can no longer contribute to the RESPs. However, it's worth mentioning that the lifetime limit only applies to the contribution you make, not the growth or the earnings within the account. It's crucial to keep track of your contributions and ensure you don't exceed those limits. Usually you'll see that on the statements. Going over the limits may result in penalties or complications down the line. So it's wise to plan your contributions strategically and make sure that you're aware of the amounts you've contributed. Along with the contribution limits, RESP accounts also have an important deadlines to keep in mind. The most significant deadline is the age of the beneficiary when the contributions can no longer be made. For example, typically you can contribute to an RSP until the beneficiary turns 31 years old, but you really don't want to do that. However, the grants may be only available up to age 17. Like the CESG grant deadlines are usually December 31st, while the CLB have no specific deadline, but it requires that you apply before the child turns 15 years old to be eligible for the full grant amount. So, word to the wise, set the RSP account up as soon as you can. What are the government grants for an RESP? The Canadian Educational Savings Grant, or CESG, is a government grant designated to incentivize parents and guardians to save for their child's post-secondary education. The CESG matches the portion of your contributions made to an RESP, effectively giving you free money towards your savings. The grant amount is based on the percentage of your contributions with a different rate depending on your income level. For the first $500 contributed annually, the CESG provides a 20% grant. This means that the government contributes $20 for every $100 you contribute up to a maximum grant of $500 per year. For the contributions beyond the $500, the CESG offers a 10% grant, providing an additional $10 for every $100 contributed up to the lifetime maximum of $7,200 per beneficiary. In addition to the CESG, there is another grant available for low-income families called the CLB, also known as Canada Learning Bond. The CLB aims to provide financial support to families who may have limited resources for educational savings. Unlike the CESG, the CLB is not dependent on your contributions to the RSP. Instead, it's based on your eligibility and income level. The CLB offers an initial bond of $500 when you open up an RESP for your eligible child. Now, furthermore, the government provides an additional $100 per year up to age 15 as long as the child remains eligible. This means that by the time the child turns 15, you could potentially receive up to $2,000 in CLB funds without any personal contributions required. It's important to note that both the CESG and the CLB have specific eligibility criteria. The CESG is available to all Canadian residents with a valid social insurance number, and contributions can be made up until the beneficiary turns 17 years old. The CLB, on the other hand, is specifically designed for low-income families who are eligible for the National Child Benefit Supplement. Apply for these grants is typically done through your chosen RESP provider, and they'll guide you through the process. It's crucial to explore all these grants and take advantage of the free money available to support your child's educational journey. What are the tax benefits of our RESPs? One of the significant benefits of our RESP account is the tax-free growth. The earnings generated within an RESP is not subject to annual taxation. This means that the investment can grow and compound over time without being eroded by taxes. This tax advantage can significantly boost the growth of your educational savings compared to a regular taxable investment account. When it comes time to withdraw the funds from an RESP for educational purposes, these withdrawals are called Educational Assistant Payments, also known as EAPs. EAPs consist of two components: the accumulated earnings within the RESP, also known as the educational portion, and the contribution made by the account holder, known as the contribution portion. The educational portion of the EAP is considered taxable income in the hands of the student. Since the students typically have a lower income while pursuing their education, they may be in the lower tax bracket. This can result in a reduced tax liability on the educational portion of the EAP. It's essential to consult with a tax professional or financial advisor to understand the specific tax implications based on your circumstances or jurisdiction. The contribution portion of an EAP is not subjected to tax since it's already been taxed when the contributions were made. This portion can be withdrawn without any additional tax implication. It's important to note that the contribution portion can be subject to repayment if the beneficiary does not pursue eligible post-secondary education. The repayment rules vary, and it's crucial to understand them to avoid any potential penalties. What are the withdrawal rules of an RESP? RESP funds can be used to cover a wide range of qualified educational expenses. These expenses typically include tuition fees, textbooks, course materials, and mandatory student fees. Additionally, funds can be used for accommodation costs, such as on-campus or off-campus housing, as long as the student is enrolled into full-time at the qualifying educational institution. First, the beneficiary must be enrolled in a qualifying educational program at a post-secondary institution. This can include university, colleges, trade schools, and other recognized educational institutions. Furthermore, it's essential to keep track of the timing of the withdrawals. RESP funds can only be withdrawn when the beneficiary is enrolled in an eligible post-secondary program on a full-time or a part-time basis. It is important to understand the specific rules regarding enrollment status and the duration of the program to ensure compliance with the withdrawal requirements. When making withdrawals from an RESP, it's typically necessary to provide proof of enrollment. This can include documentation such as acceptance letter, course schedules, or letters from the educational institution confirming the beneficiary's enrollment. The specific requirements may vary among the RESP providers, so that it's important to understand what documentation is needed and prepare accordingly. In summary, an RESP is a powerful tool for saving for your child's education. It provides tax advantages, government grants, and flexibility to support their educational journey. By starting early, taking advantage of the benefits offered by an RESPs, you can ensure a bright future for your child. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.